Okay. Actually, I already have several questions. I can just copy and paste to the chart. And in the same time, actually, I would like to welcome you. My name is Giovanna San, and it's my pleasure that I can interview Jeff Greber. Please tell me if I pronounce your name in the right way.
Yes, you did. Graver is the way it's pronounced.
Okay, so Jeff, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, I suppose the reason I'm here today is to give you an introduction about that part of my life. So I'm here today because of an event that took place at Sotheby's, whereby an organized digital group, which is called a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, had gotten together to basically buy at auction a copy of the US Constitution. So my involvement was basically holding a sign in front of Sotheby's that said, "We are going to buy the Constitution." And then I hashtagged the name of the Constitution group that's on Discord and Twitter. That really was my involvement. So I guess that's a good introduction to people about why I'm here.
Okay. It's actually my question. It was more like what I know that you probably you own a company that you can fix Apple like a Mac.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I would like to hear a little bit more about the work you do, and because it's actually I'm a big fan of Apple and the Mac.
Sure. You and millions of others, right? They've gotten to be a very, very large company, multinational company. You know, I'm pretty sure they're evil at this point. But my role, and for the last 25 years, has been as Brooklyn's first Apple authorized reseller and service provider. So we had the contracts drawn up back in the late 90s when Apple was on the ropes and only had a week of cash left. And Steve, you know the story, Steve Jobs came back, saved the company, and so on, blah, blah, blah. That was a consulting business that I had. And then I started another business that involved more computer repair and actually more upgrades to machines that are older that most people don't realize that you can upgrade. And you can get very good performance, like 60% performance speeds from these upgrades. Anyway, that was an opportunity that arose locally because people kept knocking on my door, asking me if my home was my repair shop. And, you know, no, it's not. But then eventually I let people in, and then it just kind of, my foyer was covered with Macs piling up that needed service because there was no Apple store in Brooklyn yet, and TechServe had closed. They were the main competitor, the largest Apple service provider and reseller in the country. So they were a direct competition for us. So they went, we picked up more clients, they saw what we did. I've been doing that for the last 12 years. It was an opportunity. I don't consider myself to be a computer repair technician, but I've certainly learned a lot about how it's done. I'm more on the business side, you know, management, pushing more papers and doing less hands-on work. And I do miss it a little bit because that was my original training. But yeah, we're continuing to do that business. I refer to it as my day job. And then my second job is crypto. But we're going to change that order eventually. Hopefully within a year.
Okay. Yeah, but it's just the one thing I'm really curious about Constitution DAO, and I know that's now the token already published, and which is the name of the token called People with the money sign. I just curious, like, how did you hear about this campaign? Like, where do they promote it, or did you know any members that are already in the community?
No, didn't know the members. It was, I had come across it on Twitter. I had seen it come across. However, Twitter's algorithm worked, they fed it to me. I saw it and I kind of just scoffed at it at first. I said, yeah, and good luck with that, not realizing the potential power of a DAO. So this is kind of like my introduction to DAOs. Started with hearing about it, not understanding it, then suddenly seeing an example of it. So I came across it in Twitter. That's how I heard about it.
Oh, okay, from Twitter. So from my understanding so far, you heard someone or you did you see any posts about Twitter?
No.
That
Well, yeah, on Twitter.
but who tweeted that? Who made the tweet? It was all like a official tweet, or it just someone shared that tweet?
Somebody retweeted that. It was an official tweet, retweeted, and I guess it was on some people that I follow. So that's how I basically found out about it. It was completely random. Oh, okay. It's interesting too, because as we get into this, we're going to find a lot of elements that could be classified as random. It's very, very interesting in that, well, the DAO, I think, and I'm not trying to get, too spiritual here, but I believe in a spirit, life, human spirit, spiritual balance, nothing religious. Just, where spiritual beings having a human existence. I read an article this morning. It was in Mandarin, so I had to translate it. But once I did, not me, the computer translated it. I was able to read about, for the first time, the spiritual essence of the DAO. And, DAO. The word DAO is a very old word.
Yeah, decentralized autonomous organization.
Yes, but DAO is also, it sounds a little bit like, the ancient Chinese religion, which is still practiced today.
Oh yeah, I know. Like a Taoism, like a Lao Chi, Chang Chi. I don't know if you know, like that's a very old philosopher from China. It's a very it's an old time. It's a lot of Western people know that yin and yang Taoism. Well, I'm really curious just because so did you like the idea about DAO, or did you more like an idea about the fact that they want to raise the fund for Constitution because they think that's by the people? It should be get it for the people, for the community. Because I think that's a very for me, I think that's very important because a lot of startup funders or the crypto people or even artists, they listen to my podcast. So because for me, I think the fundamental about this campaign is mostly about Constitution, that people think it should be by the people, for the people. So of course, it should be get it back to the people. So so that's what I'm curious about, like the very original tweet when you saw it from Twitter. It's about like a Constitution. It should be something very interesting. So immediately can grab your attention. You may think that, oh, I should be part of that. I want to contribute some of The other thing is I don't know because I know they don't have points before. So at the beginning, so where did they start? Like a Kickstarter? Where did they raise the fund for the campaign? It's just for the web. It's just like a website or just like a PayPal?
So it is a website, but it's not just a website. It's also on a platform called Discord, which is mostly used by young people, but it's certainly being adopted by an older crowd. I think I'm a great example of that. And it's where the people in DAO discussions are mostly found. So Discord has millions of users, and they started. The idea of Constitution DAO is right in the title. You're bringing something of not only historical but valuable properties, and you're marrying them with the idea of the DAO. So it's kind of like, I must think it was a bridge of some sort, the term Constitution DAO, that had people kind of do a second look. Say, what did that say? Constitution DAO? What the hell is Constitution DAO? And it kind of picked up, start to snowball.
But I mean, did you know what is a DAO before this?
Yes, I did know what the acronym meant, but I didn't find out till a little later that it meant decentralized autonomous organization. And then I just started questioning it myself and wanted to find out, well, what is this? And the first thing I saw, because it was a superficial view before the deep dive, was basically a lot of people, seemingly younger people, I would say in their 20s, who are very enthusiastic about creating their own subcultures. And that's really what Discord is pretty much about. Plenty of features, but that's really what it's about. Running your own server. So your own subculture. And then 2,000 people became 3,000, 4,000, and apparently they had tapped into a national pulse directly for people living in the US, but also for the concept of freedom. And that is a universal concept.
Right.
The mission statement for Constitution DAO is, we're going to buy the Constitution. We're going to show the billionaire Ken Griffin, who eventually won the auction. We lost, but made the bigger statement.
I know, and I think this guy is also the one that he has a hedge fund company in Wall Street. Is that the same guy that?
Yes.
He criticized a lot of the things about crypto and the others.
Well, yeah, he's not a fan by any means.
Yeah, very conservative.
There was an interesting article actually in Bloomberg talking about how it wasn't his idea. His son came to him and said, "Dad, you've got to buy this." So, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a conspiracist to realize that Bloomberg is doing some spin control on the story, because even though it was a symbolic win, it was a loss for the people who were more on the side of radical takeover. Because you had actually a large spectrum. You had from liberal to conservative points of view, but really congenial discussion, which is one of the great things about Discord. So it was a website, getting back to your question, it was a website, but it's also a token. So the token, right, that's the crypto, and that's running on a blockchain called Ethereum, but that's the token, and the token is 2 cents. They had released it, it's 2 cents because, there's no market cap for it.
Right.
And you could pay whatever you want. And that was actually done on a different platform called Juicebox.
So like a pay as you wish. It's not like they ask particular amount of money.
Pay what you can afford is there's a real idealism. There's a real strong idealism in all this that we're talking about. But what happened, they raised, $5 million, and I went from scoffing before, like, what? Okay, to going, really? Wow. Okay, this has now got my attention. How long did it take them? Because they're totally new. Oh, it only took them 13 hours to raise that much. You're telling me they raised that much money in 13 hours? That's amazing. I want to know more. This is not a joke. It might be, a Ponzi scheme, fraudulent, rug pull, as we like to say in the industry. But I did my diligence. I was looking into the backgrounds of the people who started it and a few other fundamentals.
Oh, you just give a very good keyword. Due diligence. Due diligence. Yeah. Do your own research.
Yeah, definitely do your own research. Yeah, that's so important. I think the next stage of that is people have to learn to do research. Because research, I've been doing it for a while. It's not just reading things or listening to podcasts, but you have to, you need to cross-reference a lot. You need to look for citations in what they're presenting. Even though they may not be doctoral theses, they're still putting out something of a white paper. So do your own research, but try and become a better researcher as that, because it is a skill. Professional researcher is a skill.
It's actually I went to the website.
I'm sorry. Did I answer your question? I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yes. Because I went to their website. Now they give all the members is the option that you can redeem, which means you can refund it. And they gave two examples, 2 YouTube video. And I was really, I think that's really interesting because it seems like the amount of the fund, these 2 guys, whoever they put a demonstration, is a really small amount of money that, and the other thing is, even I don't know how it's work, but I mean, when they want to issue the refund, actually maybe they will pay the gas fee is even higher than the refund itself, but they're willing to just demonstrate to show people, which I think that's really good. They like to just show you that now, even we lose the option that we fully responsible for the funding, and even I think they redeem it because they just want to show people, and they still have to pay the gas fee, which I think they're really good people because they want to show people they're sincere for this project.
Yes. Transparency.
So what is your plan? Are you going to issue your refund, or do you want to just hold it? Because it's already published. And I checked the price today. Correct me if I'm wrong. Today is like a 0.11 cents US dollars. According to the ratio, most update ratio. I just checked I don't know if you always track the current money value for this token.
Well, I do track it because I am an investor, retail investor, obviously.
Okay, but I mean,
I do track it. I do
Okay, can you
track
tell me
it.
how
So,
much did you contribute, or you want to keep it private? That's totally fine.
well, you know what? That's fine. At the current price, I own 24,000 of these.
Wow, okay.
Um,
Should I
you
say
know, so
congratulations?
sure, sure. You know, if anything, it was I believe, a gift of believing in something of your own conviction.
I also
And
believe giving forward, paying forward is always something.
yeah, well, I was thinking about that yesterday, and I was considering an idea where by people who didn't have people tokens, not because they didn't believe, don't ask me how we would manage that, but maybe they missed out because they're caught in the daily rat race. I can't do my crypto research and work very well at my day job. I'm just finding that's true. It wasn't always. But I mean, the people who maybe missed it could perhaps be donated one by myself. Now, of course, with every transaction, I lose money, but you know what? The amount I put in originally, it wasn't a lot, so I can afford it. So when we say pay it forward, you really have to kind of quantify, can I, even though the good feeling is there to want to do it, that good feeling leads to just doing those calculations and seeing, can we make this possible? Is it feasible? So I think that's an important part of not just believing in Constitution DAO, but in the civility potential of people. I think there's a lot of that lost in our current day of disconnection through electronics and distraction by 24-hour news cycles and constant use of electronic devices. I mean, obviously, there are good things that could come out, like meaningful discussion, that for you, for me, and for anybody else who may watch this. But yeah, I see a lot of benefits to it. I'm not at liberty to go through them, nor do I want to take up all the time going through them because they are intense. But I'll just leave it at that. I agree with what you're originally saying about that. I agree with that, and I think I can do something about it. But it's not a question of money. It's really a question of how many projects can I get involved in before I'm tapped out. I do a lot of reading and research, and so I guess I'm going to be testing myself in my belief to possibly put together in the crypto community a structure that allows for this to happen properly. It must be executed, in the right way. I'm not talking about choosing people, and it isn't for my own social media gain. It's not so I could be popular on Twitter. Obviously, it's not going to make me rich, and I didn't care about that in the first place. But like I said, I can afford it. I'm not going to go into any more details on it. Maybe on another podcast once I have
Sure, definitely.
the model. And I really would like to have the time to do it. So I'm going to be tested on my own belief in the idea too.
So did you invest any crypto before this campaign, before this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did.
So that means that you already believe in crypto.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm 52 years old, and I come from a pre-internet world
pre-internet.
Where pre-internet
Okay.
world.
So
So I'm
that
dating
means
myself.
before web, of
One.
course, before Web 3, Web 2, or even website.
Web one, yeah. No,
Okay.
I mean, it was fantastic when it happened. But again, not overnight. So I lost the plot. What was I saying?
You you came from the world before internet. So
Yeah,
what
but
did you
before
like?
that,
Yeah.
before that.
Before that? Well, I asked you like, did you invest crypto or did you invest
Oh,
any
okay.
other type of crypto, NFT cryptos, or even
Yes, I did.
shitcoins? Did you believe in shitcoin?
No shit, no.
Oh, no shitcoin. Okay.
No
Only
shit coins,
the
no.
coins more legit. How about stable coins?
No, I mean, stable
Or
coins
only
aren't really.
Bitcoin or Ethereum, like already, like.
Actually, I own mostly Ethereum. Most of my portfolio is Ethereum.
Okay.
Among many different reasons, is it has great utility, and that's not something I saw in Bitcoin. What I saw in Bitcoin was just, we actually popularized it once Satoshi figured out the double spend program. But development of internet money had been there since the 90s. There are two other people, I won't cite them at the moment, but because I can't remember their names, that started trying to create this. But it wasn't, until Satoshi, I guess things leading up to Satoshi, eventually Vitalik Buterin for Ethereum. But I looked at Bitcoin and I said, okay, you made this up. Okay, that's nice. Well, how does it get a market? And like any other fiat currency, is based somewhat on the belief you and I can exchange goods and services, and we are providing each other immediate notes of value about that. So now in Ethereum, I found utility, I found a store of value. These are the things that make up not a stable currency, but a legitimate currency. It has to have certain attributes. So I started meeting with Ethereum, not with Bitcoin. So at the time, in 2009, when I was told about it, and I was told about it, and I was told that I could make a lot of money, I gotta be honest, I didn't drop everything that I was doing in my business and then go over and start researching it furiously. I said, very nice. I'm really busy on this other stuff. I would love to know more, but I'm not going to seek out more information because just based on that concept, I don't understand where the value comes from other than people. And remember, money is just not determined, the value of it's not determined just by people. Economics and such and financial stuff. So I passed on it, and I was happy to pass on it. I don't say I don't have a few regrets now and then, but that's minimal. Mostly it's a degree of fantastic when it happened, but again, not overnight. So I lost the plot. What was I saying?
You came from the world before internet. So
Yeah,
what
but
did you
before
like?
that.
Yeah.
Before that.
Before that? Well, I asked you like, did you invest crypto or did you invest any other type of crypto, NFT cryptos, or
yes,
even shitcoins? Did you believe in shitcoin?
No shit, no.
Oh, no shitcoin. Okay.
No
Only
shitcoins,
the coins more legit. How about stable coins?
No, I mean, stable
Or
coins
only
aren't
Bitcoin or Ethereum, like already, like.
Actually, I own mostly Ethereum. Most of my portfolio is Ethereum.
Okay.
Among many different reasons is it has great utility. And that's not something I saw in Bitcoin. What I saw in Bitcoin was just, we actually popularized it once Satoshi figured out the double spend program. But development of internet money had been there since the 90s. There are two other people, I won't cite them at the moment, but because I can't remember their names, that started trying to create this. But it wasn't, until Satoshi, I guess things leading up to Satoshi, eventually Vitalik Buterin for Ethereum. But I looked at Bitcoin and I said, okay, you made this up. Okay, that's nice. Well, how does it get a market? And like any other fiat currency, is based somewhat on the belief you and I can exchange goods and services, and we are providing each other immediate notes of value about that. So now in Ethereum, I found utility, I found a store of value. These are the things that make up not a stable currency, but a legitimate currency. It has to have certain attributes. So I saw it meeting with Ethereum, not with Bitcoin. So at the time, in 2009, when I was told about it, and I was told about it, and I was told that I could make a lot of money, I gotta be honest, I didn't drop everything that I was doing in my business and then go over and start researching it furiously. I said, very nice. I'm really busy on this other stuff. I would love to know more, but I'm not going to seek out more information because just based on that concept, I don't understand where the value comes from other than people. And remember, money is just not determined, the value of it's not determined just by people, economics and such and financial stuff. So I passed on it, and I was happy to pass on it. I don't say I don't have a few regrets now and then, but that's minimal. Mostly it's a degree
so
of
where did you find your people token?
So
exchange place like Coinbase or the other?
Wait, well, hold on. Before we jump that far forward, I just want to finish what I'm saying about it. Actually had somebody walk into our computer service store, and this person did begin right at the very start in 2009. He was actually a customer, and he had been to the store a few times in the last year for just like repair on his MacBook. And he said to me, we just got to talking because, he's an entrepreneur too. And he just kind of said to me, Jeff, I'm starting this other business. Would you be interested in hearing more about it? And I just went knee-jerk reaction. I was like, no, I've heard it. It's just not something I'm interested in. Kind of let's get back to business, if we can. Well, anyway, he turned out to be one of the early investors in Bitcoin, and then got featured on Forbes, 10 best upcoming, and suddenly he found himself a multimillionaire and started a company, basically an exchange, an early exchange, and then, long story short, got busted for defrauding along in conjunction collusion with the Silk Road. And the Silk Road, was underground dark web
it was
for drugs. And
when you made
2000, this is later in 2009. I heard about Bitcoin in early 2009. This is later in 2009 because this individual was so impressed that he had to buy thousands of these, and I was just like, one of the reasons, I'm seeing, he's telling me he did this, and I'm like, wow, not only do I think it's not a great project because maybe I don't have the vision or just wasn't informed because I didn't have the time, I wanted to do this other thing, but he just went all in. But the upshot of the story is that he ended up in jail for a year because he had aided the Silk Road. So I said, years later, I said, I'm really glad I didn't go into business with this guy. Because I might have ended up in jail for all I know, but he's out and, he's trying to kind of revive his Bitcoin status, but I don't know. I've spoken to him literally once over the past year because I wanted to check if certain emails were still valid in our database. So we had a check, just a ping. It said yes, and I usually just reach out to customers once in a while like that. And I reached out to him, and I basically said, are you still involved in Bitcoin? And just got no answer after that. Thinking in my head, lawyers told him to not discuss Bitcoin ever again publicly, including email, telephone calls. I don't know. That was my kind of fictionalized account of it. I could be wrong.
Okay.
So I didn't get into it till much later, and much like, a lot of people who were hearing of NFTs, I too caught that news. I read the news daily, so I caught that news. And they, I looked at it, and again, not impressed with it. But maybe I'm slower and I take more time to look at things now. I have the patience to actually read 401k prospectus, which is insane, but I can do it, but I like to slow that down and get into it. I looked at it and said, okay, this looks like to me like an auction, eBay style auction for art. But I understand that the artists are getting more of their money because of the way it's set up as a decentralized exchange. So I was kind of on the fence about it.
I said, now it's not like a decentralized anymore. All the marketplace, they actually centralize.
It's a Web 2 idea. There's no doubt about it. And I think we'll see a Web 3 iteration of it the way it's supposed to be, because it's adopting blockchain. It's not really built up from the ground like that. But I said, okay, how are people paying for NFTs then? Fully expecting to be fiat money. Well, they're paying in Ethereum. I said, Ethereum, I remember that. That came out after Bitcoin. I took one look at it back then and I said, oh, there are applications known as dApps, and those dApps are applications that run on top of Ethereum, so they must adhere to the architecture of it. And I started realizing that, okay, this is growing, but I still am not going to pay time. I can't spend time on it, especially at that point, because I'd started attending a Goldman Sachs program called 10KSB. So now, I get myself tapped out. I have to limit, right? How many projects? I said, oh, let me look at Ethereum again now. And that's how I started acquiring, investing up to the moment of Constitution DAO.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So what is your any suggestion or any point that we have a couple minutes left, because I use the Zoom meeting I use is only allow 45 minutes for regular meeting. Otherwise, I'm not in the paid version. Any points or any comment, anything you like to share right now? Think about especially now is the end of year 2021. What is your expectation for the crypto? Because you already say that you're going to do more crypto next year, 2022.
You mean my ID on Twitter?
Yeah, or your future plan.
Well, no, I'm going to do more. But to answer your first question, 2022, in my opinion, will be the year of the DAO.
Yeah.
It's been demonstrated through not just Constitution DAO. There are other DAOs, which are organizations that are completely online, that are interested in solving problems, perhaps that larger entities such as the government can't focus on, things that happen at a local level. Constitution DAO was a very local level event. It was literally inside a building at an auction. So, but they could be local, they could be regional, they could be statewide, they could be countrywide, they could be worldwide. DAOs are a seemingly more efficient way to run an organization. So I think DAOs will be at the forefront.
And even better than forming a corporation.
Yes. I'm sure our current oligarchy will want to regulate laws surrounding DAOs as well once they realize that there's kind of like a proliferation, perhaps unstoppable number of DAOs that people are creating for all sorts of reasons. And now we have a subculture, but do you see what's happening? Subculture. Now it's subculture to the third power, fourth power. This is going to be every year for the foreseeable future, and anybody's going to be able to quickly start a DAO and be able to have the financials, the treasury and such, if there is one, handled. It'll be transparent as building a website, doing a Zoom call. I don't know what the time horizon is, but it's definitely starting next year, I believe.
Oh yeah, I have one more question. It's about I was asking which exchange place or the coin trackers that you can track all your cryptos.
Well, for investing, I use mostly Coinbase Pro, and I would suggest going to the Pro. It doesn't cost you anything more, but you pay less trading fees, gas fees, Ethereum gas fees, and other fees. For tracking, like...
How did you track the people's token? People token.
Okay. I thought you were getting into an accounting question about tracking it, because it's hard. There are a lot of transactions.
Okay, because
I tend to like
Coinbase exchange place.
Right.
Did you track in the other exchange place?
Oh, I'm sorry. So I think your original question was just about tracking prices.
Right.
Right? Okay. My bad. I usually use CoinGecko because I like their Gecko, like Gecko. Like Geico's Gecko.
Geico, G-I-C-O. Yeah, okay. CoinGecko. Okay. The other Gecko.
It works. It works. Okay. It's a super simple interface if you're just getting started. There are more complex ones after that, such as, I believe, CoinTracker.io. I think that's maybe your, I think it's .io. And then on kind of like the more complicated side, there's something called CryptoRank, R-A-N-K.
Okay.
And CryptoRank, you can dig in for, for fundamentals.
That's, I really appreciate you gave me the really good information. So I have to end out the recording now. So we have about 45 minutes, and I have to make this disclaimer for us. This episode is only personal experience, not financial advice, not legal advice. Everything we say is just for educational and purpose and not any advice. Okay. And
Not only do I concur,
yeah.
and also if you've derived entertainment,
Also
remember
for
this is not meant to be entertainment advice.
yeah,
Either.
yeah.